I didn't know if this was going to be a
Welcome,
visual recording.
welcome to the John Clarence Gomez Show, Mr. Tim.
My pleasure. Lovely to be on.
Yes. How do you become an professional actor?
Sure. Well, ever since I was a young boy, I've always wanted to be an entertainer, and my mum and dad got my sister and I into singing lessons at a very young age, at the age of 6 and 4. And I fell in love with entertaining. I've ever since then I've dreamt of being a performer on the stage and traveling around the world and entertaining audiences. And I fell in love with musical theatre, so singing, acting, and dancing. And ever since then, my whole life has been a musical, pretty much.
What is the first musical? Do you do you appear? What is the first musical? First musical
So
chair.
the first one that I performed in,
Yes.
yeah, well, the first musical I performed in was actually A Christmas Carol, by Charles Dickens, and funnily enough, I played Tiny Tim, and my name was Tim, and I was actually quite short, so I was kind of well typecast in that role. So Christmas Carol was my first one, and I've performed in nearly over 50 musicals since.
How about your disability? How about your disability? How can you perform even with you have a disability?
Sure. Well, that was always going to be an interesting part of my journey, because I acquired my injury and disability at the age of 18. So I spent the first, I suppose, from the age of 6 through to 18 performing as an able-bodied person, with being able to, dance around the stage. And I was also a good athlete as well, playing basketball and athletics. And then at the age of 18, when I had my spinal cord injury, which left me with quadriplegia and to spend, I suppose, the rest of my life using a wheelchair to get around, it was always going to be interesting to see how I would actually be able to perform on stage from a wheelchair. But I had a lot of very supportive family and friends around me, and in particular some directors and arts colleagues that told me that, and encouraged me, that it didn't matter whether I was sitting or standing. If I could still learn to tell a story, if I could still perform and entertain people, it wouldn't matter whether or not I'm actually in a wheelchair or not. And so I took that on board, and I learnt to become a good storyteller, even given my physical disabilities, with no use of my hands or fingers, and obviously no use of my legs or anything. So I used the wheelchair to get around, and even with gesturing with hands and fingers and things became hard. So I tell a story a lot with my face. I when I'm singing, I'm very expressive and things. So people can tell if I'm singing a sad story, or if I'm happy or angry or whatever. They can see it on my face and feel it in the intensity of my performance.
You have a Christmas. Mama mo saan? Ha? Mama mo. Lumabas. You have a Christmas album. You have a Christmas album called Let Your Heart Be Light. Can you tell about that?
Yeah.
About your Christmas album?
Sure, I would love to tell you about my Christmas
Because
album.
today,
I
tomorrow, because on Saturday it is Christmas. Can you tell about your
it,
Christmas album?
Sure. Well, it is Christmas time, right? And I love Christmas. It's a wonderful time of the year, as the song goes. But I've been singing Christmas carols for over 30 years now, and every year I get to sing these beautiful songs like "Oh Holy Night," and Away in a Manger, and even fun songs like Jingle Bell Rock and things like that. So I I I thought 2 years ago, I thought, it's time that I bring out a Christmas CD. So I worked really hard and found some lovely people to help me be able to produce the CD, record it in a studio, and prepare the artwork for the CD, and then also get it online so you can stream it online on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. And you can also buy it from good record stores. But yeah, and it was important to me to call the CD something that talked about the spirit of Christmas. And there's a wonderful line in "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas." Um, have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. And that line has always resonated with me. And I thought, yeah, it's a nice message to send for everyone to try and let their heart be light this Christmas, because it's been a bit of a tough time, hasn't it, with COVID and restrictions and not being able to see family and friends. But let's try and spread some joy and some peace and happiness to people, and yeah, encourage them to let their heart be light.
How about your experience speaking in TED Talks? Because I saw you on YouTube. Can you
Yeah,
share?
well, that was a wonderful experience, because I very much acknowledge and respect anyone who gets the opportunity to present a TED Talk. And I was absolutely honored and thrilled to be nominated and chosen to present a TED Talk. And what I loved about the process was that you were given a specific time frame, 10 minutes to get your point across, tell your story and get your point across. And so you were given a curator who would help you. But I wanted to incorporate a song, and often songs are about 3 or 4 minutes, which only leaves 6 minutes to then get your point across. So for those out there that would like to see my TED Talk, you'll see that I actually incorporate a song all the way through my 10-minute presentation. So it's very different to probably a lot of other TED Talks out there. But the song that I sing is "The Impossible Dream," to dream the impossible dream. And then I tell my story throughout that song. And so I'm very proud of it, and hope that people can get something from it, learn something from it, or maybe be inspired or motivated or something. So it was a great experience.
Uh, uh, do you have a latest musical or latest concert?
That I'm about to perform in?
Yes.
Well, yeah, sure. Well, the very exciting thing happened in September this year. I wrote a new cabaret called The Crooners, Swinging and Spinning, which was a performance for myself and another dear friend and colleague who also has a disability, Tony D. And we performed in this cabaret concert together, a double-hander, doing all of the Rat Pack type songs: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Tony Bennett, Harry Connick Jr., all of those kind of swing jazz songs. So it had to be you, all the way through to "Come Fly With Me." And we had, "I Did It My Way," "Start Spreading the News." So we did all of those types of songs, which we really loved. And I'm really excited to say that next year we'll be performing the Crooners, Swinging and Spinning, across southeast Queensland. And our plan is to tour it around Australia as soon as we can, and we can book into some of the cabaret festivals. So I suppose it's a little bit of watch this space. It'll be on my website as to when the dates are and what the dates are and where it'll be happening. But keep an eye out for the Crooners, Tim Mack and Tony D, Swinging and Spinning.
How do you inspire many people with disabilities about your talent? How do you inspire them?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because I try not to deliberately go out to inspire people. And that it's not to say that I don't want to inspire people. It's just that I think if sometimes you have the intention to go out and deliberately inspire people. Sometimes you can miss the mark or be a little bit too forceful in your telling people how to live their lives. For me, it's all about just sharing my lived experience and how I've gone about doing things and achieving my goals and my dreams. And the best way, I suppose I can tell people is to follow their own, is to not be to not give up on their dreams and their goals, even though they may face some challenges. That they can always overcome adversity with the help of other people. So if that helps motivate people and inspire people to forge their own journey, then that's a bonus on top of what I do. But at the end of the day, I just try to be the best person that I can be. And if that happens to shine a bit of a light and inspire other people, then I feel very humbled that my journey has been able to do that to others.
What is the best musical do you perform? The best musical. Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of musicals that I absolutely love. My top musicals are probably the standards like Phantom of the Opera and Les Miserables and West Side Story. And I love a lot of Stephen Sondheim, who unfortunately passed away not that long ago, but he's left a huge legacy in the arts industry. Probably the music that I really love to sing, and some of the songs that I love to sing. I really love to sing a song called "You'll Never Walk Alone" from Carousel. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. I think that's a great song, a really personal, emotional song. But then I do like other songs, like Being Alive from Company and The Impossible Dream from Man of La Mancha. But then I also enjoy a little bit of opera too. So I've learned how to sing some opera, and every now and then I might get into La Donna Immobile, qua più malvento, and O Sole Mio. So lots of different genres of music I really love and enjoy singing.
We have no time, and this is the last question. Can you give
Sure.
an advice to many people with disabilities who wants to become like you, who wants to become a performer?
Sure. Look, my advice is similar to what I said before. If you have a dream or a goal of being a performer, make sure you surround yourself with people who can support you and encourage you and help you to make those stepping stones along the way. And and just keep going no matter what obstacles, and keep learning and growing. Never stop learning and growing. And as I said, you can't do it alone. So make sure you have a good team around you to help support you, and don't be afraid to throw your hat in the ring, as they say.
Thank you for guesting to my podcast, and it's time to say goodbye. Bye.
It's lovely to meet you. Thanks for having me. Take care, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.